Om. 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 Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Janakalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram Namah Shri Shankarananda Guru Padambu Jannani Savila Samaha Graha Grase Karmani. Okay, let us read now verses 47 to 53. Verses 47 to 53 really talk about what Maya is. Let's just read those verses and then we will review. Nistatva karyagam yasya shaktir maya agni shaktivata nahi shakti kvachit kaishchit budhyate karyatah pura nasadvastu satah shaktihi nahi vahne swashaktita sadvilakshanatayam tu shakte kintattvamucyatam Shunyattvamiti chet shunyam maya karyamiti na shunyam napi sadyadrika tadrik tattvamiheshyatam na sadasi no sadasit tadanim kim tvabhutamaha sadyogatamasa Naswatastan-nishedhanat ata eva dvitiyatvam shunyatvannahi ganyate naloke chaitra tatshaktiyoho jivitam likyate prithak shaktyadhikye jivitam chet pardate tatra vriddhikrita na shakti kintu tat karyam yad krishyadikam tatha yuddha krishyadikam tatha sarvatha shakti matrasya na prithak ganana kvachit shakti karyam tu naivasti dvitiyam shakyate katham. Okay, so what did we just read? So first, I'm going to start with the questions that you all had last week about Ishvara. I'm going to start with that so that that concept becomes clear. And then we will come into reviewing this Maya and then we will move forward. So now we have three things, right? We have Brahman, Ishvara, and Jiva. So to say there are three, they're actually one. What is Brahman? Brahman is Sat. Brahman is existence, Chit, consciousness, Ananda, bliss. So when we say Brahman, we mean existence, consciousness, bliss. In this particular text, we are studying Sat, the existence, nature of Brahman. That is what we are focusing on. So we will use the term Sat and Brahman interchangeably. Now this Sat, existence, consciousness, this Brahman, when Brahman is associated with individuality or individual conditionings, that is called Jiva. So that pure awareness, pure existence associated with individuality, that is called Jiva, right? Individuality means what? Individuality means that that individual body, mind, intellect, that ego, that all comprises one's individuality. So Brahman associated with that is called Jiva. Brahman associated with totality. What do we mean by totality? The total bodies, total minds, total intellect, total egos. Brahman associated with that is called Ishvara. When we say Ishvara, we mean God. Ishvara, that cosmic God, that cosmic principle. So here, in essence, we see that Jiva is Brahman. In essence, Ishvara is Brahman. So the question came last week, is Ishvara in the realm of Maya? The name and form of Ishvara are definitely in the realm of Maya. There's no question about it. The name and form of Ishvara, all the names, all the forms, that is in the realm of Maya. The name and form of Jiva, Shubhani, or, this body, this mind, this form, that is also in the realm of Maya. But the essence of Ishvara is Brahman. And the essence of Jiva is Brahman. So, and the example I gave you was the water. The waves are like Jiva. The ocean is like Ishvara. But in essence, they are all nothing but water. So the wave is the individual name, form, conditioning. The ocean is the total wave, form, conditioning. And in essence, they're just water. So this is how we see Ishvara. So what does that mean for our sadhana, for our spiritual practices? For our spiritual practices, Ishvara is incredibly important. Why? Because we as Jiva, those who identify with being this individuality, we can't even go beyond our own bodies. We can't even see past our bodies. We can't even see past our minds sometimes. Our minds are so disturbed sometimes, we cannot even see past it. We can't even see past our egocentric notions. So for that being who cannot see past their own individual conditionings or layers or individuality, Ishvara is a very, very helpful, surrender to Ishvara, prayer to Ishvara is a very helpful sadhana. Because it helps us not to look at our forms, to look at a greater form. Not to look at our beauty, or our ugliness or our whatever is going on, but to look at the beauty of God. Not to look at our minds and the filth that's in there, but to listen to the stories of God. So for those who are stuck up in their own individuality, that prayer, that communion with God, Ishvara, Brahman with name and form, is extremely helpful in sadhana. Now, what about those who have gained knowledge? What if I know I'm pure awareness and I'm able to see past my mind? Why should I worship Ishvara? Why should I worship Ishvara, who's the God in this universe, who has all these names and all these forms? You worship Ishvara because it is your nature. It is your way of worshiping. Those who are able to see past names and forms, they still worship the world in some way or the other. Swami Tapovan Maharaj worshipped the river Ganga. Every morning, he would bathe in the river Ganga. He would go to the temple to worship Shiva. What did he say about Ganga? He said that this is the liquid form of Brahman. In Ganga Maya, he saw Brahman. So for him, he was fully aware of his nature. That is extremely evident in his literature and his text. It's extremely evident about it. But still he worshipped that Ishvara, knowing Ishvara's nature, knowing that Ishvara in essence is Brahman, and there is only Brahman. So the same way we see great ones like Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi Ji, he worshipped Arunachala Mat, right? So even if one has this knowledge that they are that pure awareness, then worship of Ishvara to them is it's just a way of life. It's just what they do. Some of them wish not to do that. Some of them very, very much rooted in it, wish not to do that. Okay. But some who wish to do that, let them do it. That's what they want to do. And for some, it becomes their nature because before gaining knowledge, they were so rooted in the worship of Ishvara, the worship of God, that after gaining knowledge, it's natural for them. So let it be. But the God they worship, they know, is none other than themselves in essence. So in this way, there's absolutely no contradiction in worship of Ishvara or in having Ishvara part of our lives, or there's no confusion that Ishvara's real nature is Brahman. Absolutely no confusion. So Ishvara is Brahman in essence. God is Brahman. Now, what is the difference then, between Jiva and Ishvara? For Jiva comes under the sway of Maya. But for Ishvara, Maya is a play. It's just a play. It's a play. Because that cosmic Ishvara, that cosmic Lord, understands that Maya is just this appearance of names and forms on Brahman. It's very, very clear about that. So therefore, Maya is a play and Ishvara enjoys Maya. For the realized being, Maya is also not a deterrence. Maya is a play. It's an enjoyment. It's lila. But for the one who is ignorant, Maya is samsara. It's samsara. So therefore, this is now Brahman, Ishvara, and Jiva. Okay? Why did we bring in the concept of Maya? We saw before to explain how this names and forms, this whole universe has come to being. To explain all of this, the concept of Maya was brought in. We cannot explain it. In dream, can you explain it? Can you explain how your mind appears as many? Appears as many things, appears to be in a different place in a different time period, appears to be moving and yet not moving. And in that dream, you can't even tell when is the beginning of it. And you can't really tell the concrete end of it. All you know is that it just happened and it was experienced. We cannot explain it. So in the same way, and so we call that dream, right? What your mind does in that state, we call it dream. What Brahman appears to do, manifesting this world, we call that Maya. And that Maya is nothing but dream. That dream is nothing but Maya. So it's not difficult to imagine that something like that can take place because it takes place in our lives every day. Every day it takes place. So what takes place in the microcosm, in the individual, will also take place in totality. So this is Maya. And three words were given in verse 47. These three are really important to just contextualize what Maya is. The first one we saw was nistatva. Tattva means reality. Nistatva, it doesn't have its own reality. Why it doesn't have its own reality? Because it's not sat. It's not absolutely real. It's not absolutely real because what's absolutely real is always there throughout and it can never be negated. But Maya can be negated. It can be negated. What do you mean Maya can be negated? On the dawn of knowledge, Maya can be negated. In this way, now take this example. Mirage water in the desert, okay? In the realm of ignorance, what do? We walk in the desert and from far, we see mirage water. Number one, we think that mirage water is real. We think that it's absolutely real. And we are so incredibly thirsty, number two, that we hope that by going to that mirage water, we will quench our thirst. And so number three, we go towards it. But then when we go towards it, we find it's just a mirage, right? But will that mirage stop appearing? No, it will always appear. It will still appear. It will keep appearing. But when we have knowledge, what will happen? Mirage water will still appear. We will see it, but we know it's just a mirage. So we will see this world, but we know it's just an appearance of names and forms. And when we know that the mirage is just an illusion, we will not hope to quench our thirst with that mirage water. When we know that this world is just an appearance of names and forms, we will not seek to get a wee bit of happiness from it because it's just an appearance. And therefore, we will remain inward. We're not going to act, to get, to put a pail in there, to take water. We're not going to do that, but we will be inwardly focused. So Maya is negated, means Maya will still appear. But that one who has realized the truth will know that it's just Maya. And not only know that it's just Maya, but will stop its pursuit of happiness towards it and remain inwardly focused in themselves, being that ultimate source of happiness. So in this way, Maya can be negated, although it will still continue to appear. Therefore, it's not absolutely real. We cannot call it absolutely real. And we also saw that it's not absolutely unreal because it appears. It's not like you can't experience it, it appears. So the first important word was nistatva. The second important word was it's Shakti. It's a power. It's a power. What do we mean by power? Power of fire to burn is different from fire, but it does not exist apart from fire. It's different from fire. The power to burn and fire are different. Fire is there, power to burn is different. My speech, power of speech is different from me. But yet, my power of speech cannot exist apart from me. So Shakti, Maya, is different from Brahman, but it cannot exist apart from Brahman. This is what we call Shakti or power. Right? Shakti. And these points we saw elaborately last week. Then we saw Karya Gamya. Karya Gamya means we cannot see Maya, but we can see the effects of Maya. That's how we know Maya is there, because we can see the effects of Maya being this entire world. Right? So if we want to know what is Maya, these are the three words that will clearly explain what Maya is. And then very clearly it said that Maya, being nistatva, not having its own reality, is sad, asad, bhina. It's different from sat and different from asat. So that came out very clearly. And that is also said in our scriptures. So therefore, this is Maya. And because it does not exist apart from Brahman, it is merely a superimposition. It is dependently existing. And what we call mithya, something that's dependently existing, it cannot be counted as separate. You cannot say there's Brahman and Maya. It's not 1 plus 1. It's 1 plus 0. It has no existence on its own. And therefore, you come to Advaita. Brahman alone is Sad Eva. Somya idam agrah asi. Back now to the statement that we started with. Sadeva Somya. Sat alone is. Idam agra asi. That was there before creation. Sat is. You cannot count Maya as something else. So this becomes very, very clear. Then there was an argument that no, Shakti or the power is separate. It's separate because when you increase the power, you are able to increase one's life or one's standard of living. But then what the Advaitins said, no, it's, the increase of one's excellence in living or standard of living, it's not simply the power, but it's the use of that power. It's the ability to express the power. So therefore, it's not the power, it's the effect of power. So, it doesn't, so your whole thinking is wrong. So then the Purva Pakshin says, well, then there's still two things. There's still Brahman, right? And the effect of Shakti. So there's Brahman and there's the effect of the power. So the Advaitin says, the effect of the power is nothing but the power. Effect is nothing but the cause. And therefore, you cannot count Shakti or Maya as separate. So now, that's what it is, right? There is no duality. Okay? Now, another question comes. Now, where does Maya exist? So now the student is a little bit more curious. You are saying that Maya resides in Brahman. Maya is superimposed in Brahman. It dependently exists in Brahman. But where in Brahman does it exist? Where in Brahman does it exist? Because the student is aware of two types of superimpositions. So now let's read the verse and then we will look at the two types of superimpositions. Okay? Verse number 54. Nakritsna brahma vritte sa, nakritsna brahma vritte sa, shakti kintveka desha bhag, shakti kintveka desha bhag, ghata shaktir yatha bhumau, ghata shaktir yatha bhumau, snigdhamridyeva vartate. Snigdhamridyeva vartate. The first line in my book, it says Brahma. Brahma avriti. It's supposed to be Brahma vritti. So please correct that. Nakritsna Brahma vritte sa shakti kintveka desha bhag ghata shaktir yatha bhumau snigdhamridyeva vartate. So what does this say? There are two kinds of superimpositions. Now just see, Swami Vidyaranya tries to address every single thing. Because we have two examples, the snake on the rope and the mirage water on the desert sand, right? And we know why these examples are there in Advaita Vedanta. There are various examples of superimpositions, right? But every Acharya, or whoever's writing the book, they'll use the specific example for that specific context. So when they want to show that we are running towards the world because of our likes, because we see happiness in it, then they will give the example of the superimposition of the silver on shell. On the shell, we see some silver, some shining thing. And we think, wow, that looks so beautiful. That looks so amazing. We run towards it. So when they want to give the notion of running towards a false illusion or an illusion, they give the example of the shell and silver. When they want to give the example of running away because of fear, they give the example of the snake on the rope. Right? Somebody sees a snake on the rope, they get scared. But why are you running? It's an illusion. But to give that notion of running away, they give the example of snake and the rope. Now, to give the example that Maya will continue to appear even after knowledge, they give the example of the mirage water on desert sand. Because unlike the snake on the rope, once you turn on the light, you see it's a rope. The snake goes away. But with the mirage water on the desert sand, even when you know it's mirage water, it will still continue to be there. It's not going to go away. So this is the example that the superimposition will continue. It will continue. So in this way, they have different, not the superimposition will continue, the appearance will continue. The appearance will continue. Now, in this way, they have specific examples. In the field of superimposition, there is also two different kinds now, right? I gave you one grouping, now another grouping. There's what we call partial superimposition or total superimposition. So kritsna means complete, total, entire. So like the snake is completely superimposed on the rope. It's superimposed on the rope. Everywhere, in the rope is the snake. Snake completely pervades the entire rope. So that's called kritsna, complete superimposition, total superimposition. But when you have this mirage water on the desert sand, it's just partial superimposition. Because the mirage water is not there in all of the desert, it's just there in part of the desert. So that's what we call ekadesha bhak. Ekadesha means in one place, bhak. It enjoys one place. The superimposition enjoys just one place. So what is the type of superimposition of Maya on Brahman? Is it something that is in one place? Is it a partial one? Or is it a complete one? So here, sa shakti. Shakti means power, Maya. That Maya, nakritsna brahma vrittihi. That means it nakritsna. It doesn't exist totally in Brahman. Nakritsna brahma vritti. Kintu, but ekadesha bhak, but only in a part of it. Only in a part of it. And this will become clear. Now we're going into, a different topic, but why Vidyaranyaji is saying this, it will become clear as we see the thought flow. Can you give an example? Yatha, just as Ghata Shakti, the earth's power of producing a pot, bhumau, in earth, snigdha vriddhi eva vartate. So the earth's power of producing a pot does not lie in all of earth. It doesn't lie on all of earth. By the sands of the beach, you cannot, with the sands of the beach, you cannot produce a pot. With the cement that's, outside the building, you cannot produce a pot. The power to produce a pot lies where snigdha vriddhi. Vriddhi means that mud. Snigdha, sticky mud. It lies in sticky mud, which means clay. So the power to produce pot, vartate, exists eva, alone in that sticky mud or clay. So in the same way, the superimposition of Maya is just in a part of Brahman. Now, what do you mean by this? First of all, Swami Vidyaranyaji, where are you getting this, this statement? Is it just your own or not? So now Swami Vidyaranyaji tells us that this is what's said in the Upanishads, in the Bhagavad Gita, and even in the Brahma Sutra, in different ways. So let's see what those statements are. Verse number 55. Padosya sarva bhutani, padosya sarva bhutani, tripadasti swayam prabha, tripadasti swayam prabha, ityeka desha vrittitvam, ityeka desha vrittitvam, mayaya vadati shrutihi. Mayaya vadate shrutihi padosya sarva bhutani tripadasti swayam prabha ityekadesha vrittitvam mayaya vadate shrutihi. So this is very beautiful because he gives us a way of really understanding our Upanishads. Now this statement, padosya sarva bhutani, this comes in Chandogya Upanishad. So it's given in your verse here. It also comes in Purusha Sukta, right? So it comes in Chandogya Upanishad and Purusha Sukta. So it says, asya, of this, sarva bhutani padaha, means of Brahman, all the entire creation is just 1/4. It's just 1/4. Sarva bhutani is just padaha, is 1/4 of Brahman. Tripada asti, the remaining 3/4, swayam prabha, are self-revealing. They're just Brahman, pure Brahman, not dependent on Maya. Swayam Prabha, self-revealing. Iti, and this is what the Upanishad says, ekadesha vrittitvam. So in this way, that ekadesha, that being superimposed in just one part, ekadesha vrittitvam, by Maya, is expounded or is said by the Shruti, by the scriptures. So even the scriptures say padosya sarva bhutani. In Purusha Suktam, it's padosya vishwa bhutani. So this is what's said in our scriptures, in the Upanishads. Then now he's going to show in verse 56 the Bhagavad Gita Smriti. So we'll read, each of these, and we'll see what exactly it means. So verse number 56. Vishtabhyahamidam kritsnam ekam shena stito jagata iti Krishnorjunayaha jagatastwekadeshatam Vishtabhyahamidam kritsnam ekam shena stito jagata iti Krishnorjunayaha jagatastwekadeshatam. So he says, Sri Krishna says, this comes in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, verse 42. Vishtabhya. Vishtabhya means upholding. Upholding what? Idam kritsnam jagat. Upholding this entire world, I remain. Ekam shena means this entire world is sustained by one part of me. So this idam jagat kritsnam, this entire world is upheld, is sustained, ekam shena, by one part of me. Ekam shena stitaha. And iti, this is what Sri Krishna Arjunaya, this is what Krishna Arjunaya tells to Arjuna. Arjunaya aha, jagataha tu ekadeshatam. So indicating that the Lord, the whole world is sustained just by one part of the Lord. The entire world is sustained by one part of the Lord. This is what's said in Bhagavad Gita. Then we have the same kind of statement in Shvetashvatara Upanishad and also the Brahma Sutras. So let's see that, then we'll put everything together. Sabhumim vishvato vritva atyatishta vikaravarti chatrasti shruti sutra kritorvachaha Shruti sutra kritor vachaha sabhumim vishvato vritva atyatishta dashangulam vikaravarti chatrasti Shruti sutra kritor vachaha. So here, Shruti, the Upanishads, and Sutrakrit. Sutrakrit means Ved Vyasaha Vachaha. So in the words of Shruti and in the words of Veda Vyasa, in the Brahma Sutra, the same is resonate. The same message is resonated. What is the message? That spirit, Bhumi, Vishwato, Vritva. Vritva means pervading, that spirit pervading from all sides. Saha, that Paramatma, Vritva, having pervaded Vishwataha, all sides, all part, Bhumi. It and what does it pervade? That Bhumi, that earth. Atyatishta dashangulam. It goes beyond 10 fingers. It extends. Angulam means fingers. Dasha angulam. It extends beyond 10 fingers. And vikara avarati. Vikara avarati means there is no modification. Avarati means there's none. There's no modification. Atra asti, in this. So the Supreme Spirit pervading the world on every side, yet extends 10 fingers beyond it. In the sutras too, Brahman is declared to transcend the world of differences. So Vikara Varti is part of the Brahma Sutra. It's part of the sutra. Vikara against modification. Avarti, it doesn't have any modification. So why is he bringing all of this? Very beautifully in our scriptures, it says in verse 58, but I'll just give you the gist of it so you understand. They come to our level. The student asks, where is Brahman? Where is Maya? Where is Maya? It's in Brahman. But where in Brahman? What kind of superimposition? In a part of Brahman, or in its entirety? Now, the teacher is thinking, first of all, the superimposition is not there. First of all, the superimposition is not there, but you're asking where. The mirage water is not there, but you're asking where. Now, because you're asking me where, I have to tell you. So the teacher says, okay, I will tell you. It is in part of Brahman. What does this part of Brahman mean? It means that Brahman is partless. We saw it's ekam eva advitiyam. It's one without any differences, without any parts. That partless Brahman, parts are being superimposed in Brahman just to make the seeker understand that Brahman transcends everything. Why it's saying that a part in Brahman, a part of it, and a part of Brahman, creation is. In Brahman, 1/4 of creation is. Or Brahman is something that extends 10 fingers beyond creation. What is all this language to say? All this language is to say that Brahman actually transcends creation. That creation does not touch Brahman. Creation is just a superimposition of Brahman. But the student will not be able to understand this transcendent nature of Brahman. So to creatively put it, to steer the student's curiosity, because of the compassion of the scriptures will say, okay, creation is there, but in a part of Brahman. Then the student will ask, but what do you mean part of Brahman? Then the teacher will say, actually, Brahman has no parts. But what we're trying to tell you is that creation is just a superimposition. It just appears on Brahman, but Brahman is never touched by it. The same way, if you ask, that mirage water, where is the mirage water? There is no mirage water. If you go near it, there is no mirage water. But if you want to know where, if you're seeing it, okay, I'll tell you. It's there. It's there. Where there? It's there in a part of the desert. It's in a part of the desert. But remember, even if you see it there in a part of the desert, it transcends. It can never wet the desert. In absolute reality, it's actually not there. So the same way that in the same way that we understand how the mirage water is an illusion, the scriptures also bring to our attention the same way that this whole creation is an illusion. It's actually just a manifestation. So though it appears, it's a manifestation, and Brahman is ever untouched by it. This is the message. So for so many things, we saw before, Sat was before creation. Well, what do you mean before? I thought Sat was beyond time. Why are you saying before? Because the teacher has to come to the level of the student, therefore the teacher has to say before. So whenever the teaching is given at the level of the student, there is a compromise. Because it can only take place, language can only take place in the realm of duality. So all language is compromised. But in reality, it exists and words cannot even capture it. And that is life. You know, in life, we will see so many contradictions, so many people having varying beliefs, varying systems, varying thought processes. And so many people just spend so much time determining one system from the other, differentiating one thing from the other. But at the end of the day, life is all shades of gray. It's all shades of gray. But why waste your time in the gray? Go beyond the color, where all shades disappear, where all words fall silent, where there's just absolute peace and no contradiction, just transcendence. That's what the scriptures are telling us to do. Okay, now let's read this verse 58 and you'll understand. Niramshepyam shamarepyah Niramshepyam shamarepyah Kritsnem sheveti prichatah Kritsnem sheveti prichatah Tadbhashayottaram brute Tadbhashayottaram brute Shruti shrotrahiteshini Shruti shrotrahiteshini Niramshepyam shamaropya Kritsnem sheveti prichatah Tadbhashayottaram brute Shruti shrotrahiteshini. Okay, first word, niramshe, api. Niramshe, amsha means parts. This Brahman is niramsha, it's without parts. Niramshe, api. Even if Brahman is without parts, amsham aropya. A part is aropya, it's superimposed. Even if Brahman is without parts, parts are superimposed on Brahman. Kritsna emshe veti prichataha. Kritsna amsha va iti. Means Kritsna amsha, is it whole? Is it the whole thing? Amsha va iti. Is it the whole thing or is it part of it? Iti prichataha. The person asks, right? Whether Maya pervades Kritsna or amsha, the whole thing or part. Iti prichataha, the questioner asks. Tad bhashayottaram brute. In answer to this, uttaram, in answer to this, tad bhashaya. Tad bhashaya means, in answer to this, it uses the bhasha, the speech of tat. What's that speech? The speech of duality. It uses the language of duality to explain how the partless appears as having parts. It uses the language of duality. Who uses it? Shrutihi, the Upanishads. Brute, the Upanishads speak of it. Why? Shrotrahiteshini. Because that Shruti, that Upanishads, it's a very beautiful description of Upanishads. Shrotrahiteshini. It wants to be able to come to the level of the listener. Shrotru means the listener. Hita means the well-being. Hiteshini. It wants to come to that level of the listener for the well-being of the listener, to take the listener all the way to the highest level of non-duality. It uses Dvaita Bhasha, uses the language of duality. Now, one very beautiful example is there. When you are building a house, you're using wood, cement, all of that. Let's say you're building a house, because let's say you're building a whole house and you want to come to that balcony of the house. You want to come to that balcony of the house. The whole thing is that you want this house because of the balcony, or you're building this whole house because of the balcony. So you're building the whole house, the wood, the cement, the structure, everything you build. You build the entire thing because you just want to come to the balcony. And when you reach the balcony, what you realize is that the whole entire structure was just to enjoy that point, to revel in that point where you're above and beyond it. But you realize that now everything is all that point. You realize at that balcony, it is made of that same cement, that same wood, that same structure that the whole entire house is made of. So everything is meant to come to Brahman, that transcendent, non-dual Brahman. But when we realize Brahman, we understand that everything is actually Brahman. Everything is actually Brahman. It's not that it's different from Brahman. This is Upanishad, this is Brahma Sutra, this is words, this is people, this is a class, this is this. I'm doing all of this to come to Brahman. When you come to Brahman, you realize that all this is just Brahman. So this is what the scriptures tell us. This is what the scriptures tell us. Right? So therefore, come to that Brahman, which is beyond words, beyond names, beyond forms, that which transcends everything. And coming to that, be happy. And you'll have full love and acceptance for everybody else, everything else, because you'll realize there is actually no other. I am everything. I alone am. Ekam eva advitiyam. Okay? So we will stop here. There's one more verse in this realm, but I think we can take that verse next time. We'll say the closing prayer, and then we will see if there are any questions or thoughts that people want to share. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Okay.